The thing I wish I knew 10 years ago was the decisions I make today are gonna affect me tomorrow, right? Before I used to just think day to day. Like I just wanted to get through the day. I wanted just to pay the bills I needed to pay. Wanted to study for the exam I needed to study for. Wanted to just spend every dollar I had. It don't matter. I was just gonna figure out how to make more the next day. And I was living like that for a lot of years. And because of that, it left me broke a lot. And because of that also, I made a lot of dumb mistakes where it led me in wrong positions, right? Like in the system and stuff like that. Now I try to think everything logically and educate myself as much as possible. Because at the end of the day, like, we think it's cool to be out drinking and partying and hanging out with the boys and, chasing females and stuff like that. But that's really not gonna get you anywhere. It's gonna get you in a bind. You're gonna end up broke. You're gonna end up losing everything. I see people that are in their 40s and 50s, struggling. And they make it seem like it's a good lifestyle and stuff like that. But you can see it, man. They ain't got nothing to their names. Nothing. And it's just because of bad decisions, bad habits. We grew up in an environment where we, push our boys to cheat, where we push our boys to, have a bunch of females, where we call them players and stuff like that, where, hey, does she got a homegirl too? And we don't even care if they're married or they have a boyfriend or girlfriend. We don't really even care. Well, that's the way I grew up. I'm not saying everybody, but in the environment I grew up in, that's the way we seen things. But at the end of the day, if that's the way you're seeing things, you're always gonna be in a bind, because we just live day to day trying to look cool, right? Trying to have that image. And I know it too, because I used to always be for that street fame. I used to always want to have a good name. And to this day, sometimes I catch myself and I'm like, man, that person's a lame, or that person never did nothing. But at the end of the day, they're nobody, right? They're nobody. They're really not. Like, they just carry an image. But if you look at them, I would say as a whole, financially successful, things like that, they're not doing much. They're not doing nothing at all. So at the end of the day, I shouldn't even have anything to say, right? But long story short is that 10 years ago, I was making dumb mistakes. And it's hard to kick those habits. And that's why I feel for my homies. That's why I feel for people that are just in and out the revolving door of just getting in trouble, doing the same thing over and over. Because it's difficult, especially when that's all you know, especially when everyone in your circle, your family, your dad, your mom, your brothers, your sisters, they're all doing the same thing. Nothing. It's hard to kick that and be like, I'm gonna go out and achieve something great. But once I stop making excuses for myself and be like, man, I grew up in this environment, or, I grew up from a different cloth, I'm still active, this person, whatever, they went protective custody and, they were only facing a year. I stopped comparing myself and I stopped caring. I stopped caring about that stuff. Because at the end of the day, that doesn't affect me. It's the decisions I make today. And the decision I make every day is that I'm gonna wake up in the morning and I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna go to work. I'm gonna get home and spend time with my family. And on the weekends, I'm gonna try to do something with my family. And I've been doing that for years now. And my life is good. My life is really good. It turned everything upside down for me. I study business, on my drives to work. I study business while I'm at work. And it's changed my whole mindset. I'm not thinking about the next person anymore. And when I do, I just remind myself in the position I'm in now. Because at the end of the day, unless someone's doing better than you, you should not compare yourself to them. Because at the end of the day, what is there to compare, right? If they're doing bad. if they're in and out the system, if they don't even have a home, if they're, just chasing tail everywhere they go. Like what is there to compare to, right? What is there to hate on? Nothing. And that's why I say, 10 years ago, I wish I had the mindset now. I would be a lot further. But I'm barely 38, man, and I feel like I'm in my 20s. I feel in my prime. I feel healthy, I feel strong. I'm a go-getter, I have goals, it's crazy to see what changing your mindset could do. That's why I always tell people, man, if you really have a difficult time changing your mindset, reach out to me, I'm not a full-time coach or anything like that, but, we could set something up to where, I could help you out. At the end of the day, if you could help a person out, man, it feels good. I do that in my clinic, right? I'm a physical therapist by trade, and I help a lot of people out, and it feels good, and I would like to get to the point where I'm able to transition and do it online too. But I'm just so busy with my business, with my clinic, that it's hard to do that right now. But I'll get there, but I know sometimes I ramble, but that's what I do, man. I just post for myself, post to improve my speaking, my talking, and, I feel like we just grow from that. I just gotta keep grinding. And if you're in your starting point today, if you're just getting out of prison today, if you just hit rock bottom and you don't know what to do, you're good, man. You're gonna get stronger, you're gonna get better. But let go of distractions. Don't mess around with drugs. Don't smoke weed. Don't drink alcohol until you're settled, man. I really don't feel like, unless someone is done with college, unless someone is working their regular 9 to 5 already, unless someone's already freaking doing good, you don't deserve alcohol, man. You don't deserve to smoke weed. You don't deserve to get high. You don't deserve nothing, to be honest. Why do you deserve it? You haven't earned it, right? And that's just my mindset, but that's probably what got me this far. Where are you at? Really think about that, man, because you want to be in positions where people are doing really good, but you're not willing to make the sacrifices of the people that are doing really good. That's something to consider. Let's go.